28 minutes to 8. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, today we'll revisit the national conference. Well, yes, they will reconvene. We'll talk about that perhaps and a lot more today on Sunrise Daily. We're joined to do that with us here by retired Colonel Tony Nyiam, who is a delegate. Morning. Thank you for coming on now.
Thank you very much.
I mean, we can't say you were a delegate. You still are.
I am
They're not rounded off, have they? When are you reconvening? On the 4th?
4th of June.
Okay.
Sorry, 4th of August.
And that will be to
that is
agree
to look at the reports, whether they recorded as we've agreed, and then go for adoption. So
what would the committee? What would would they do? Would they go through all documents page by page, or it would have been sent to them before
we'll go through,
4th of August?
We'll go through the whole thing through, really, looking at the amendments we had during the conference, and looking at all the resolutions, whether they properly captured.
Okay, let's take a look at the final outcome of that conference. We do have a report about it. Let's just go there and check if we can get it now. So, shall we see that?
After going through 19 other committee reports, it was time for the National Conference to consider the last committee report, that of the Committee on Devolution of Power. But before that could commence, an observation was raised on the procedure for adopting some recommendations of some of the last committee reports considered.
All decisions that have been taken by the conference which are conflicting or contradictory, we have to reconcile them, and the management has assured us that at the appropriate time, this will be brought to the attention of delegates. Also, we must, in our view, minimize the results of the use of voice vote. We've done almost all but one report, and we've gone along with the voice vote, but from now, as we near the end of our presentations and our work, we must minimize the result. Finally,
and we have gone a long way. 19 reports have been considered by white votes, where they found that there could be bracket or two there. I expected, if there was going to be any heat race, the leaders of the North should consult some of us. The decision we arrived on Thursday, some of them were not from us. What do we do?
The chairman did not respond on this matter. The conference then moved on to the report of the Committee on Devolution of Power. After the co-chairman of the committee gave a summary of the report, the conference went ahead to consider it.
It is very wrong and provocative for somebody to compare cultivation of groundnut with the degradation of our environment occasioned by oil exploration. We can consider increasing derivation to 95%. I would like to propose that it is done on the basis of what is onshore in the states affected. The oil producing areas certainly have raised a number of issues concerning environmental degeneration, a number of other factors that are affecting their areas. But if we are to go and as it were, give all that they require, although we are very sympathetic, then the rest of Nigeria, some states may even collapse. And everybody now will be migrating to the Niger Delta. It's not healthy for the nation.
It is expected that delegates will meet before Tuesday's plenary to try and reach a consensus on some of these issues. If that does not succeed, then Tuesday's session may be a stormy one. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
Well, that's one of the reports from our archives. Clearly, yes, they've concluded plenary. They'll reconvene on the 4th of August to just take a look at maybe by way of wrapping up. Let's get back to Colonel Tony Nyiam. Yeah. Give us a rundown of what, because, I mean, yes, that thorny issue, but how does that weigh in the scheme of things where you get to hear people saying the inability of the conference not to agree on derivation principle, they say, kind of overshadows what has gone on, although maybe albeit good for that conference. Do you agree?
First of all, the caption you showed gave impression that the conference did not resolve, that he said on next Tuesday. Actually, there's been misinformation.
No, that's an old report, so...
Yeah, but I'm saying it gives that impression which the media is keeping. The conference finished very well. A resolution was taken on the issue of derivation.
No, but before then, there were times you didn't agree. Then you
yes, before then, like your word is before then. Finally, we agreed. The resolution is that...
this was before you agreed. That's what
I'm just saying that the impression the press is as if the conference is finished and there were all resolutions were agreed. What happened is that...
All resolutions were agreed?
Yes.
Including
derivation. The resolution was there would be an increment from the... There would be an increment. They did not specify the percentage. There would be an increment from the 13%. Pardon?
From 13% to...
There will be an increment. That's the resolution. Now, the other point is that because of the technical matter, there was a debate as to what was... there was a contention for us from the... There was going to be a national intervention fund, which the northern states wanted it to be exclusive to the northern states. We in the south wanted to be all-inclusive. So that brought an argument. Because of that, the figure as to increasing it by 5% or much more than we want, it was agreed that we will leave that to a technical group to set. And this is not the first time.
Let's backtrack a bit.
Yes.
You say everything was agreed on.
Yes.
So are you then saying that, yes, they wanted an increase from 30%, but they did not peg it on anything? So what was the point of the argument?
No. The point of the argument was there was initially a suggestion for it to be 18%. And then some people wanted to be being clever by half, wanted to take away the 5% added by saying that there should be, we agreed that there should be a national intervention fund. But the word national means it should include everybody. But as usual, those who are, I think, who don't want the status quo, wanted it exclusively for the northern zones. And the rest said, no, it can't be that.
Okay.
So that was why it was then said that that matter of the technicalities as to how you define the national intervention fund should be left to a technical committee.
But again, where did the press get it wrong? Because now you just brought up another angle. In trying to explain to us, it shows that, well, there was no agreement reached on that particular matter. Because Chemala was trying to ask, if you say the agreement was on an increment,
yes,
but the question or what bothers Nigerians or what interests them the most is, at what percentage have you agreed to peg it? And if you never reached any of such, it then means there was never an agreement reached on that particular matter.
See, this is semantics. Have you ever heard of agreeing to disagree as an agreement? If you've heard that you can agree to disagree as an agreement, what are you guys saying? There was an agreement.
Was that what you did?
No, not at all. No, not at all. I'm only trying to show you that when you use the word, we agreed that the derivation will go up beyond what it is now, not the status quo that was suggested by the committee. Then it was then agreed that as to the issue of the National Intervention Fund, which was the issue of that was contentious, that it is those issues that technical parties would then deal with. And then after they've dealt with that, they will be more specific as to what the percentage of increment would be.
Oh, so are you saying then that the technical committee,
yes,
which you recommended that the president set up,
yes,
it's not exactly going to be looking at what percentage derivation is going to go about? It's going to be looking more at the intervention fund.
The intervention fund is where that was where the problem was, really. And in other words, if in effect you see, I've said earlier that people were being clever by half. After we've agreed that the derivation should be 18%, some people now suggested that 5% of that amount should go for National Intervention Fund, which I must say Niger Deltans agreed, just as a measure of their gesture, which they've always done in feeding and giving Nigerians as much as they can give. They've always given. They agreed. But it was when people were being clever by half that they wanted it only to be exclusively to the northeast, north central, and northwest, that other people said, no, we also have possibility of insurgencies in our backyard. As of course, Lagos example, which the last time the Boko Haram said that the two bombing in Abuja and in Lagos, they were irresponsible. So we said it should cover everybody, not necessarily only because you have a case where in Bakassi, people have suffered certain, the people are displaced, because the national intervention was to cover all causes of instability, as it were, and insurgency.
What did delegates from the Niger Delta, what was their request about the derivation?
Niger Deltas are quite clear. We wanted us to return to what is universally in the world. And what it is, people own their resources and pay tax. This is what is obtainable everywhere in the world. It's only in Nigeria that people's human right, someone would say the resources below one's surface does not belong to the person. So Niger Deltas wanted us to correct this, what I would call abuse of human rights of people, of inalienable rights of people. They wanted that. Because of understanding, they then agreed that they started by, when all right, we will agree 50%. After so much persuasion and pressure, people say we should be our brother's keeper. We considered, all right, that we would drop down to, some of us suggested 30%. We dropped down to 25%. They asked us more. We said the minimum would be 21.5%.